Whispers of unseen creatures echo through the halls of Rebirth's hidden lab. Are rumors of hidden hybrid mutant dinosaurs true? Well, in today's video, we uncover the secrets of these monster beings and their potential to change the lore of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World as we know it. And believe you me, you're not going to want to miss a single bit of this video, because the mystery surrounding Rebirth's labs and facilities, shrouded in all this secrecy, has sparked rumors of what activities were they actually conducting. What was the purpose of this lab, focusing on the creation of these new monstrosities, and how does this link up with the events in Jurassic World? Because the movie actually tells us at the very beginning during the flashback scene that this takes place in 2010. At that point, Jurassic World was still open. In fact, Jurassic World opened in 2005, closed in 2015. So this flashback scene in 2010 is bang on in the middle of Jurassic World's lifespan. But this is where things get extremely interesting, because Jurassic World had actually started its first iteration of hybrids in 2009. And that was E750 / the Scorpius Rex, created by Dr. Henry Wu. Now the confusing thing here is, why was the Scorpius Rex created on Isla Nublar by Dr. Henry Wu when they had this entire secret facility on a brand new island, which didn't shut down till at least 12 months after the creation of Scorpius Rex? And was Henry Wu even involved in the creation of all these mutant dinosaurs? Well, we'll get onto that later, because I'd like to discuss the actual contents of this lab. As seen from this photo here on Twitter, you can clearly tell there are numerous types of experimental dinosaurs / mutants in these vials. The first one kinda looks like a genetically modified frog with numerous limbs. The second one kinda looks like a baby D-Rex with the bulbous skull, which is extremely odd. Third one, we have a multi-headed, what looks to be Brachiosaurus / Titanosaurus hybrid going on. And the fourth one? Well, that's the most confusing one of all. The point I'm getting at here is, this is all highly top secret stuff which was not conducted on Nublar. This is seen in 2010, a year after the creation of the Scorpius Rex in 2009, and the Scorpius Rex was made on Nublar. So why did they not make it in this facility? This facility was completely separate to the facility on Isla Nublar. Isla Nublar were already creating hybrids in 2009. They were clearly using this facility for other genetic mutations, not to create hybrid dinosaurs as such, although we do see these mutated dinosaurs. That wasn't their goal. They're clearly manipulating genes and trying to uncover certain types of results. Just look at the Indominus Rex, for example. She had camouflaging abilities. Now you imagine you could isolate that gene, just that, to turn invisible. Think of the military applications which could come with that. You could literally have like a adaptive camouflage from Metal Gear Solid for your military. That would be extremely valuable if you could just have that as an injected type of genome to put into a soldier, right? And this is where things get extremely interesting. To get these certain types of genomes, they would need the corresponding animals, right? And not only that, perhaps they wanted to create a bunch of genomes all in one. The armor from a crocodile, the invisibility from a cuttlefish, the strength of claws from Therizinosaurus. You get where I'm going with this, right? Not only did they create the dinosaur like the Indominus Rex, they're trying to combine them all into one so they can just extract all the best bits. And this is where we see all these mutant monsters from all this experimentation. And this is something I'd like to discuss now. All the other monsters which have gone unseen, and the ones which have escaped actually out into the wild after the collapse in 2010. Because believe it or not, we actually see some of them on the screen. Sure, we see the D-Rex, we basically already know all about that. We see the Mutodon, again, we basically all know about that. But what about the river snake scene? You know, the bit where they're trekking through the jungle and a giant snake seems to come up? No, I thought this is it. This is where we're going to see the Titanoboa. But we have a little tease and then it goes away. Whichever way you look at it, that is one giant snake, which could have easily have come from that Rebirth facility. Sure, you could say it was an anaconda, an extremely big anaconda, but this is a Jurassic Park / Jurassic World island. I'd like to think that was maybe a sub-Titanoboa. But not just that, we also see a scene with the raptors, right? Why were raptors even on this island? Well, there are two potential explanations here. One, they came from the originals facility during the Jurassic Park era before that got shut down after the collapse in 1993, or they came from the actual abandoned research facility after 2010 when they escaped. Both of this would make sense. I mean, they would have to have these original Velociraptor dinosaurs so they can conduct their experiments with them, try and extract and combine genomes, right? Just like when we see that two-headed raptor. They had numerous raptor specimens clearly on this island for that purpose, experimentation. We also know there would be numerous actual pens throughout the island. And why do I say this? Well, we see numerous electric fences. Why would you have electric fences like the original Jurassic Park if you weren't keeping animals or dinosaurs in them, for example? You could say, oh, it's to keep people out. Who the hell is going to this island in the middle of the ocean with live dinosaurs on? Nobody. Even Duncan in the film says nobody is that stupid. They're not building these fences to keep people out. There's no one there. You're doing it to keep the dinosaurs in. And potentially all the wild dinosaurs which escaped after the fall of the original facility in 1993. Because obviously this facility was built for the original Jurassic Park in 1993. Jurassic Park obviously fell. That facility became abandoned. InGen Masani took over with the buyout, and they reopened this facility for their shady secret lab and testing. This is also how we see the different color compies. You know, there's that one scene where we actually see red compies rather than the traditional green. Again, some type of genetic mutation there. This leads me on to a pretty big one here. If this facility fell in 2010, the Scorpius Rex was made in 2009, could all these experiments and everything else they were doing in this facility actually be for the pre-Indominus Rex? Think about it. You imagine the D-Rex was actually going to be a prototype Indominus Rex. Sure, they obviously wouldn't call it Indominus Rex, but all of this was leading up to the genes for Indominus Rex. Scorpius Rex was already conceived, right? 2009. All of the discoveries they made here could have transferred across to Jurassic World for the Indominus Rex. Hell, that D-Rex could have been the prototype Indominus. And in a way, probably is. I mean, on the door, we actually see that the D-Rex is at version 23. 23! Does that mean they've had 22 other versions of this? Or has the DNA been genetically altered 23 times? I mean, it's version 23, right? And not only that, we don't know the scope of this facility, how big it actually is. Sure, we see a snapshot of it here and there in the movie, but this facility could be absolutely huge. We've literally only really seen one room, and that was the D-Rex room. You're telling me that's the only thing they had there? Yet we have these vials and all these other containers with other dinosaurs, live specimens of the Mutadons. There's clearly way more going on here than our initial analysis. Which brings me back to Dr. Wu. Did Dr. Wu actually know of this island? Well, I'm actually going to say yes, he must have. He's taken some of the applications used in this secret lab, took them over to the Indominus Rex. But here's the real big kicker for me. Dr. Wu wasn't on this Rebirth Island as a Masani Global employee, he was there as the InGen employee. We know that shady part of Masani Global, the InGen subsidiary, which takes over during Jurassic World, you know, Vis Hoskins, where he wants his field test, etc. This island, I believe, was owned by InGen still, obviously under the guise of Masani Global, but didn't let Masani Global know of this entire operation. We know Masani Global himself, well, Mr. Masani, was unaware of half of the dealings going on. He didn't even know of half the creations in Jurassic World. And there was even a scene in Jurassic World where Henry Wu himself said he wasn't at liberty to tell him what genomes were in some of the dinosaurs.
You know that I'm not at liberty to reveal the asset's genetic makeup.
Basically saying he had more clearance in this than Mr. Masani did himself, one of the owners of the company. That means there's other parties involved, third parties, buyers even, investors, which even he wasn't allowed to talk about. Which brings me back to the potential and the use of all these mutants/hybrids for the military applications we see. I already theorized that there was a military helicopter on this island. We literally see it hanging from the trees. I went into huge detail on that and why they would be there. This all is now becoming full circle. There was military involvement here. The dinosaurs were never really the star of the show, just like Michael Crichton's novels. These dinosaurs were the byproduct, the offshoot of what was going on here. They were using them for the experiments, for this hybrid theory, the mutant theory, so they could get them certain traits from certain dinosaurs. If that was the case, what other dinosaurs haven't we seen yet in this facility? Which leads me on to the future for Rebirth. Obviously, they've left it extremely open-ended, and basically, with it tracking towards making $1 billion, there's no way they're not going to come and revisit this, leaving this huge D-Rex on the facility. They're going to come back at some point, and we're going to further explore this facility, uncovering more clues and evidence to what was there, although we've done a pretty good job today already. Oh, and something which is really important, hitting that like button and subscribing right now. That is, if you're a huge Jurassic fan, so I implore you do so right now. I also highly recommend checking out all my other videos on the channel, especially in relation to Rebirth, like how did the dinosaurs escape, the military helicopter, and their involvement. Go and watch them after this. I'm sure you'll enjoy them, and it fits into this theory perfectly. A massive thanks to the InGen employees on screen now. You guys keep the power on in the park. DVM Wannabe 1018, Hammer Time, and our Jurassic CEO, Joseph Frost Ghost. Thanks, guys. And if you find yourself on this Rebirth island, could your day get any worse? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.